Hey everybody, Whitney LaBrie here. So last year around this same time, I began working on my Polter project, which was the room from the movie Poltergeist. And I loved that project. But there was one thing about it that I am still dissatisfied with, and that was the tree. So today I'm gonna redo that tree. But then it got me thinking, there are several other projects that I've done over the last 12 months that I'd really like to maybe make some changes or make some additions to. And a lot of those additions are actually suggestions made by you, which I thought were really great. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna take a look at some of the projects that I've done over the last 12 months, just a few of them, and we're gonna make some changes or additions. So let's get started. So the first thing I want to focus on is my diorama that I did for Tennessee, which is going to be part of a lot of miniature dioramas for my travel wall. But I started in Tennessee and I did this music diorama here with some focusing on some of the artwork and everything that I saw out in Tennessee. But one of the elements that I wanted to include was something Elvis related. Of course, Elvis is a big deal. I did get to spend time in Memphis. I went to his house. Very cool, by the way. And so I just thought it'd be important to add a little bit of Elvis to the diorama, and I found these two records here, the record covers actually, so I'm going to go ahead and include those into the Tennessee diorama. Of course, when you travel, food is a big part of that, right? You want to eat what the locals are eating, you want to experience the food and the culture. I found this small bottle of Jack Daniel's Tennessee whiskey. I think that's important as part of the culture of Tennessee. And then I found this little plate here that I already had. This is some chicken, some wings, some drumettes, some breasts and stuff. But in Tennessee, they have a specific type of chicken that's pretty popular there, and it is very good, and it's called hot chicken, which is not to be confused with chicken wings or hot wings. Okay, it's a little bit different. It's a fried chicken, and they use these amazing spices, and so it's very hot. I tend to enjoy spicy food, and so I did have some while I was there, and it was very, very good, and I highly recommend it. Since I don't have hot chicken, I'm gonna just take this spicy orange color right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and paint these already pre-made chicken breasts, wings, and thighs here, and some drumettes. I'm just going to paint them to make them look like hot chicken. And that's pretty much it for the diorama that I really wanted to add. I think it was also suggested in the comments that I make a plexiglass cover to go over the diorama. I think that's a great idea, and I probably will eventually do that. But otherwise, here are the additions. So we've got the hot chicken, the whiskey, and of course I've added my Elvis covers, and then I did put a microphone on top, which was already part of the diorama. I just moved it over. Okay, moving on to the next project. So over the summer, I did the Shabby she shed. I think the biggest suggestion here from the viewers was for me to add plants. And so that's what I'm going to do here. So the first thing that I have is this little table plant. I like it because it has this really bright pop of turquoise color, and I'm going to go ahead and add that to the tabletop of my little coffee table. For the second plant, I found this little terracotta pot, and then I have these leftover remnants of another plant that's just taped together on the bottom. I think I got this in some kind of haul that I purchased. So I'm going to go ahead and paint the base. Of course, the terracotta pot is really going to be pretty much hidden, but I think I want to go ahead and paint it anyway. So I really like this pretty sage color, so I'm going to paint it in a light sage, then add some glue, of course, to the interior, and then I'm going to go ahead and put all my little plant leaves right inside there. And then I have a little bit of some Spanish moss. I'm going to fill the gaps just so the plant looks nice and full at the base. Shove that in, of course, with my tweezers so it looks decent, and then we'll go ahead and add that here in a little bit. The other thing is I left the ending of the video with that I didn't have any door pulls for the French doors, and so I wanted to, kind of find something fun and creative. And a couple people said spoons, but I did find these oversized spoons at Hobby Lobby in their charm and bead department, and I thought they were perfect, and I just really loved how they look. So I'm going to go ahead and add those to the front, and then I have some single knobs that I'll use for the interior part of the French doors. So go ahead and add those, and I think they look really good. Actually, I'm really pleased with that. And of course, I've added the regular ones to the interior, and let's go ahead and add our plants. I'll do one to the back corner, and then I've added that one to the coffee table already, so we'll go ahead and reinstall that. And there you go. I think that really does add to the whole vibe of my little shabby she shed. All right, and then of course the outside of the shed, I'm going to be doing a lot more to it. I am going to be adding some vines and maybe some window boxes and that sort of thing, but I'm waiting to do that when I finish the actual backyard section of the dollhouse where this goes. So we'll swing back around to that maybe next summer. For the next project, I wanted to circle back to my World War II era abandoned toy store, or bombed out abandoned toy store. So I do have several several viewers from the UK, and they mentioned a couple things to me that I think are important additions to the piece. One of the first things they mentioned is that the window to the door would have had tape on it, which is true. So during the London Blitz, and actually throughout the entire war, what they would do to the storefronts or to the windows is they would add tape. The purpose of the tape was just to keep the windows from shattering and exploding out, and of course hitting people and doing other major damage. And so I did want to add some tape to the front of this window. The other thing that they did as well was they would do blackout curtains or black curtains, heavy, thick curtains that would also keep the glass from shattering and exploding onto people. So I'm going to go ahead and add some masking tape pieces. I'm just cutting down my regular masking tape into really smaller, thinner pieces, and then going ahead and adding it to the front of that window. In some of the pictures that I saw, they actually did designs and that sort of thing. I'm not going to do that really here. I'm just going to add the tape and then add a little bit of a brown wash to it to make it look a little bit older. I'll have some pieces kind of dangling down a little bit also. Another thing that was pointed out to me is, I kind of had this piece of vine that I had purchased, and I kind of ran it through the bottom area, and then I had it hanging over the top as well. But then it was pointed out to me that a plant that actually was more well known in taking over old buildings or rubble that had fallen from the Blitz or other areas that had been bombed out was a plant called London Pride. Now, I looked all over for a plant that would kind of resemble that. It was really difficult because it's kind of like a garden flower that's white and it kind of has pink hues to the center. I really did struggle in finding it, but I do have this one floral here that I found, and it is white with a pink hue to the center. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and cut this down, and I'm going to start running it through my little vine area to kind of give the impression that the London Pride plant kind of started growing through there, as it would have in reality, of course. And although this plant isn't exactly like the one that I could find in the photos, I hope that it gives enough nod to the actual plant and how it really did overtake these old buildings that had come crashing down. Okay, and then I wanted to also circle back to the Poltergeist children's room that I did as a project for last October for spooky season. I did this whole entire room box with added special effects. Now, one of the things that I was always really upset about was how my tree came out, and you may remember me calling it the big giant brown turd in the room, which is still how I feel about it. So I really did want to remove that and create a better looking, spookier tree. I think that would give it really the look and the feel that we're seeing in the movie. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my tree, and it was a little bit easier than I thought it was going to be. One of the things that always bothered me too is that the tree, although in the movie it does come into the room and then kind of falls down onto the bed before it pulls Robbie out, I didn't like the fact that it just kind of laid there on the bed in the room. I really wanted it to have more of a feeling of being in motion or in action right before it takes Robbie. So these are plastic Manzanita branches here in black, and I found a whole bunch of them on Amazon and ordered them because I want to use them in a couple different ways. But the first thing I'm going to do is they're a little too long for the room the way that they are, but they definitely have the feel that I'm going for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this brown paper packaging material and I'm going to cut it down into these strips. And then I'm just taking a glue and water mixture, and I'm going to dip those brown paper strips into those, and I'm going to start molding them around these Manzanita branches to create more of a heavier duty tree. Then I'm going to cut these down and kind of manipulate the branches, glue some in place, and then I'm going to let that brown paper bag or paper packaging material dry, and I'm going to paint it black. So here it is, I've kind of put it in to see what it's kind of going to look like. I feel like it needs more branches, so I'm going to go ahead and add some more branches. Now that I have those branches in place, everything is glued, dried, and painted, I'm going to go ahead and reinstall that tree into the room. I'm going to add this toys back into the windowsill that I actually had dropped, removing the other tree. And then see with the lights on, you can already see how that just looks more frightening and scary. I like the way this looks way better. It just has a way better feel as far as being spooky and being more in motion. And then here it is with the lights off and the lightning and thunder going. Okay, and then for the last project is also my most recent project, which is the Asylum creepy room with my little skeleton in the wheelchair. One of the things I kind of wanted to add, and I don't really know why, but it kind of gives a creepy vibe, is I thought I'd add just one simple wooden cross up on the wall. And I'm just going to simply make it out of a toothpick. I'm going to glue it together with my regular white ultimate glue, and then I'm going to paint it brown. The other thing that was suggested, and I thought it was a great idea, a viewer suggested that I add a old clipboard to the end of the bed, and I think that would be great, like a medical clipboard. So I did buy a little clipboard, and I'm just going to add a little piece of scrap paper with some writing on it. And I'm going to, of course, muddy that up a little bit and make it look a little bit older. And then I will go ahead and glue that to the base of the bed. All right, and then I did hang my cross up on the wall as well, kind of trying to get it in an area that you can see it. And I just wanted it to be kind of like a little bit of a spooky detail. And then I do have one last Manzanita branch left over from the Poltergeist room that I didn't use. So instead of packing it away for one more year, I decided to go ahead and use it now. So I'm going to cut it down and I'm going to put it to the outside of the Asylum wall. And I would like for one of the branches to kind of be coming through one of the windows maybe. So I'm going to kind of play with it and see if I can give it that look. And what's really nice is I'm still able to keep this flat enough where I'll be able to pack it up within the room to pull it out every Halloween. I know several of you were saying like, oh, I'm gothic, I would keep this out all year. I'm totally with you on that. If I didn't have so much stuff, I would probably do that too. There's a lot of things that I've made that I just love, and would love to have them out all year, but there is something special about packing them away and then pulling them out, and you get that renewed sense every year as you kind of are like, oh my God, I love this piece, and and you can enjoy it over and over again. Okay, and then now that I've added that tree, I'm really loving it because look at these amazing new shadows and stuff that it casts up on the wall. I'm just going to use my flashlight here to kind of show you some of those creepy, great new shadows that tree casts just sitting outside the windows. Yes, that is great. All right, everybody. So that is kind of a recap of not all, but several of the projects that I was able to complete over the last 12 months. And a lot of the ending of my videos, I always say, I'm leaving room to add for the future, which is true. You know, as a collector, I always have my eye out for stuff, and I come across things and I think, oh, that would be really great for the Poltergeist room or the Shabby she shed. But at the same time, you know, you do get to a point where you look around and every single thing that you make feels incomplete. That's also not a really great feeling. It was really fun to go back through some of these projects from over the last year and kind of add to them and complete them in some ways. So I hope that you enjoyed that. I hope it was satisfying for you to have some of that stuff completed where we had maybe some loose ends. I know it was certainly a good feeling for me, and I really do appreciate the suggestions from so many of you as we've gone through these videos, and you have all these really creative ideas, which I really do appreciate. Okay, everybody, so if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and do so. I have plenty of other Halloween projects coming up. Next week, I will be completing a little Halloween store, and then after that, I might do one more Willy Wonka master bedroom, and then I will definitely be doing an ET extraterrestrial project right around the last couple weeks in October. So I'm very excited about that. I hope you are too. I do have the Tiny Whitney coffee mugs in my eBay store. I ordered a few more for those of you who are interested in the coffee mugs. And of course, I do have the My Dollhouse is Haunted coffee mug this season also for Halloween. So definitely check the eBay site for that if you're interested, if you're like me and you're a caffeine freak, but also love miniatures. These are great coffee mugs for you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for hanging out with me. I enjoy being here with you every weekend, and I'll see you next time.